The biggest takeaway for me from a Sidcot education was don't be afraid to think for yourself. Sidcot was a small school then, it was 300 pupils or thereabouts. It encouraged people to very much think for themselves, and I think that's to do with its faith and to do with where it was in the educational spectrum. And that those things combined seemed to produce a sort of a person coming out of Sidcot who had an individuality about them. They were not necessarily what you'd call conformists. They were definitely individuals. And all through my life, when I've come across Sidcotians, you can kind of recognise the fact that they went or came from that school and that form of education. And, you know, certainly from my point of view, it's something that shaped me. You know, I went there from the age of 11 through to the age of 16, 17, and they're very formative years, and that school taught me to be an individual and to think for myself. I think there's a number of things that I learned from Sidcot, which is, you know, tenacity, resilience, and, you know, not necessarily taking no for an answer, and really the confidence to think as an individual, and that it was fine to have opinions and ideas that weren't necessarily in line with everybody else's because they had just as much value as everybody else's. And that if you're going to be successful in anything in life, then you have to have the confidence to be able to think like that. And nobody who's done well in anything hasn't had the confidence to think like that. And that one wants in a school the education, if you like, and the ethos to come from the school to be able to think like that. I see hundreds of kids coming through trying to get jobs and all the rest of it. And the people who have individuality are the people who always shine through. It's not necessarily the big academic results, and it's not necessarily the people who've done best at university, it's not necessarily the people who've been to Eton and Cambridge, but the people who are definitely individuals are the people that and can think for themselves, are the people that I consider to be interesting. And I think that set of values was something that my education, and Sidcot was a big part of that, instilled in me, and that's something that now one looks for. And now, you know, those are the people who tend to get on, is it's almost the power of self, without wishing to sound corny.